Hello everybody, this is Mr. Robin. Welcome back to episode number 67 of the Houston Astros franchise here at MLB The Show 20. Today our Astros are at home for the full episode, hosting the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles, two teams that are in the bottom tier of the American League. So the Astros have a real chance to improve upon their hot start, currently sitting at 50-23. If you're excited for this one, make sure you leave a like and subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content, as 2021 continues to be a good year here on the channel. Take a look at our lineups. As you can see, both squads. One thing you'll notice in our lineup, no Carlos Correa today. He is currently out with a finger injury, and Miles Straw will be at shortstop. On the mound for the Astros will be Rogelio Armenteros, who's had a 4.40 ERA. Not the best, but kind of get what you can get with Rogelio. He's going to start off his day with a strikeout of Kyle Lewis on the slider running away. Next up, one of the Mariners' top prospects, Jarred Kelenic, and he's going to walk on a fastball that just misses the zone. That's going to bring up Austin Nola, who's playing DH today, and on 2-0, he's going to single up the middle for a base hit. And the Mariners got something going here with one out in the top of the first. Next up, Mitch Haniger, full count to him. He laces one down the line and right, slicing away from the right fielder Garcia. He's going to get to it, but the Mariners draw first blood already, as it's a double for Mitch Haniger. Next up, Rowdy Tellez, 2-2 to him. He strikes out with a pitch in the dirt. Will be thrown out at first for the second out of the inning. Next up, Kyle Seager, the longtime Mariner, and he's going to strike out as well. So Armenteros gets all three outs by the strikeout, but does give up a run. Logan McGilbert is on the mound for the Mariners. He's also a young prospect for them, 3.92 ERA on the season, as he's working pretty solid in his first full year in the majors. He's going to start off with Michael Brantley, who on 2-2 laces one right into the shift, and Shed Long records the first out. In the two-hole today is Alex Bregman, 1-2 to him. He gets a high slider, something he could do with good timing, but it's also an out, as this one is to the right fielder. Next up, Jose Altuve. First pitch to Altuve. He gets a slider right down the middle. Good timing again, but the ball just can't seem to find the grass. That's a quick bottom of the first. Top second now, Mariners. Shed Long leading off. He's going to draw the walk. That's going to bring us to Tom Murphy, their catcher. And on the first pitch, Stubbs can't squeeze the glove on it. Shed Long will take off for second, and that's going to be a pass ball on Stubbs. Don't see that very often. But later in that bat, Murphy singles to the right side of the infield. Shed Long maneuvers to third base. And now we have runners on the corners with no out. Dylan Moore is up next. He's going to single, basically the same spot Murphy did. And the Mariners now have their second run of the ball game. It's now 2-0, and there's still nobody out. Kyle Lewis now back to the top of the order. He's going to single through the exact same gap. That's back-to-back singles through the right side, and we got bases loaded. Trouble brewing for Armenteros. Kelenic up next. He lines one right at Straw. It's gloved for a quick out number one. Austin Nola up next, 0-2 to him. He strikes out on the slider, so Armenteros has a chance to get out of this jam he's created. Mitch Haniger up next, 2-2 to him. He singles right up the middle. That's going to be a base hit. Two more runs will come around. Throw is offline, and it's 4-0 Mariners, and it's still only the top of the second. How about Rowdy Tellez? First pitch swinging. He's grounding to Straw. He will field it, throw him out, and the Mariners are up 4-0. Astros need a little bit of love here in the bottom of the second. Alvarez, good timing on a high fastball. A pitch he usually crushes, but it's flown out to left field. How about Josh Bell's turn? 2-1 to Bell. He gets an inside fastball, turns on it with good timing. All these balls just hit right at people. Frustrating start for the Astros. How about George Springer? 1-2 slider. Perfect timing. Hit to right center. But even that can't record a base hit, as Astros bats just very unlucky here in the early going. How about top four now? Dylan Moore leading us off. Armenteros still in this ball game, but he gives up a lead-off single. Back to the top of the order, Kyle Lewis, 2-0 to him. And he laces this one to left field, and it's going to be off the wall over the glove of Brantley. That's going to be extra bases, and the Mariners bats, they stay hot. They're hitting everything. The Astros can't seem to hit anything. Jarred Kelenic up next, 1-0, grounds into the second baseman Altuve, but that's going to result in another run. It's now 5-0 Mariners. Austin Nola up next. He's going to single to right as well. 6-0 Mariners. Armentero's having an absolutely atrocious ball game. It's finally going to be pulled, and it's going to bring in the long reliever, Jose Urania. Urania called up about a week ago. He's 8.04 ERA, not so good, but he was doing good in AAA, so we decided to give him another shot this season. His first batter is Haniger, and on the first pitch, he's going to give up a single as well. Rounder rounds second, goes to third. We got runners on the corners, and it's still only 1 out. Rowdy Tellez, 2-2 to him. He looks at a changeup he could have killed. Don't know why he didn't swing at that, but nonetheless, out number 2. Kyle Seager up next, 2-2. He swings and misses on the changeup as well, so Urania gets out of it, but it's 6-0 Mariners. How about we go to the bottom of 6 now? Astros still don't got a run on the board. Bregman's going to lead us off. He's 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts on the day. First pitch to Bregman. He laces it up the middle, but of course there's a shift, and he's thrown out at first. That's going to bring us now Altuve. First pitch to Altuve. He's also swinging. There's a curveball. Perfect timing. Finally gets into the grass. That's actually the 4th pitch we made perfect timing on. That's the first one's resulted in a hit. Next up, Alvarez, good turn on a fastball, hit deep to right center, but of course is caught at the wall. Kalenic has just enough space. Altuve, low-key could have tagged on that, but he doesn't. Bell's up next, 1-0 to him. He turns on a fastball as well. More good timing, but once again, another out in the outfield, as that'll bring us to the end of the 6th. How about we go bottom 7 now? Springer, he's going to lead us off. He draws a walk. That's one way to get a base runner. Miles Straw's up next, and he's going to walk on 4 pitches. So back-to-back walks for Gilbert. This is the most shaken up he's looked today. Next up, Garcia 0-1, dribbles it in front of the catcher. Murphy fields it, but Garcia's got good wheels, and he beats it out. So a base hit rule for Garcia puts the bases loaded with no outs. So the Astros' best opportunity in this game. And it's going to be Stubbs up next, but it's actually going to be Josh Reddick. They're going to get Reddick, who is good in these kind of situations, to give us something. But on a 1-1, he pops up into left field. The fastball, probably not deep enough to tag. The throw, though, is all over the place. And Brantley's actually going to take off for home, and he is thrown out by a mile. So, good idea, bad execution by Springer. And now Brantley, high changeup, good timing, out to the right field. 0 runs recorded in that bases loaded, no out situation. Astros having a horrible day at the plate. Pitching hasn't been much better. As in top of the 9, there's a good start. Brad Peacock is now on the mound. Kyle Seager up next. First pitch swinging. He's going to get it through the shift, as that's another base hit here for the Mariners. How about Shed Long's turn? 1-0 to him. He's going to turn on one down and in, and he's going to somehow pooch this one. It's going to get all the way to the wall for a double. Mariners bats just don't seem to be missing here today. How about Tom Murphy? Full count to him. He's going to lace this one deep to left field as well. It's going to be caught, but a run will come around and tag. It is now 7-0 Mariners as they continue to extend their lead. How about Dylan Moore? 1-2 to him. Pop up to the shallow left center. Springer will put this one away, but it is 7-0 Mariners going into the final frame. They're going to bring in Taylor Williams in the 9th, so Logan Gilbert goes 8. The Astros' chances look very minuscule. However, they do get runners on 2nd and 3rd, no outs, and Garcia grounds to the shortstop for an out. The Astros finally push across their first run of the ball game. Next batter is Maldonado, who is now playing catcher, and he's going to hit a sac fly to deep center. So the Astros do get 2 here in the bottom of the 9th, so at least they don't get shut out. But they're down to their final outs. It's Michael Brantley. First pitch to Brantley. He gets jammed on a fastball. It's lazily into the shallow grass, and it's recorded for the out. So the Mariners win this ball game 7-2 behind the dominant pitching of Gilbert and the dominant performances at the plate. This is just an all-around good game for Seattle and a very frustrating day for the Astros, as nothing seemed to land for us while everything seemed to land for Seattle. They scored 7 runs, didn't hit a single long ball. Gilbert is your player of the game, rightfully so. 8 strong innings. Armentero's got killed on the mound, and then we drop game 1. Fortunately, we do win game 2 6-5, is another tight ball game. 5 runs given up by our pitching in this performance. Bregman and Canna with yards. Straw also had 2 RBIs of his own, and it was McCullers who didn't fare that well. And then in game 3, we win 10-5. So offensive bats thankfully save us in games 2 and 3. But starting pitching has not looked good for the better part of 3 or 4 weeks, as Verlander didn't do good in that one. And now we go into actually game 4. Starting pitching finally does well. We win a pitcher's duel 1-0. 5 hits combined, only 2 for Seattle, as our solo shot by Cannon was the only run of the game. Urquidy also went 8 strong. Second half of the episode, we're going to have a home 3-game series against Baltimore, who sits at 28-50. So another team that we should do some damage against is going to be Josh James on the mound for Houston, who's not had a good season as well. Kind of comparable numbers to Armenteros. And we've seen plenty of Josh James this year, and we've kind of seen he really struggles with his command. Starting off for Baltimore will be Elvis Andrus, the former Ranger acquired in the offseason. And an 0-1 to Andrus, and he bloops it into shallow center field. And just like that, the Orioles already have a base hit here in this one. Up next for them will be Austin Mays. First pitch swinging. He lifts this one deep to right center. And it's out of reach by Garcia, up against the wall. That's going to be a double. And already 2 hits on the board here for Baltimore. And that's before they even get to Mookie Betts, who surprisingly signed with the Orioles in the offseason. Betts on a 1-2, though, kind of checks the swing. It's recorded for an out, so that'll be the first out of the ball game. Let's take a look now at the Orioles lineup. We've already seen Andrus, Mays, and Betts. We'll see Trey Mancini up next, Nunez, followed by Pat Valaika, Zach Green, Adley Rutschman, and Chad De La Guerra. So how about Trey Mancini, who's actually on the trade block? He's playing DH today, and he's going to help his value with a RBI single through the right side of the infield, and the Baltimore wastes no time getting on the scoreboard in this one. How about Nunez up next? Very first pitch grounds into a double play, so the Orioles only get 1 in the top of the first. That's a run for Cole Stewart, who will be on the mound. He's got a 4.89 ERA, very similar numbers in the ERA category to Josh James. He'll start off his day with Michael Brantley, who 2-2 to him, grounds a fastball to the right side of the infield, and is thrown out with ease at first base. So we'll take a look at the Astros lineup in this one. A lot of the same things, except you do see Correa is back in the lineup for today. So it's just a very minor injury. He's hitting .303, so doing a very good job at getting his average back up. Next will be Alex Bregman, 2-1 to him. He gets a high slider, turns on this one, and sends it over the wall in left center. That ball is gone. Solo shot for Alex Bregman. His 22nd home run already of the season. It goes .340, and the Astros don't waste any time getting on the board in this one. It's not going to wait till the 9th inning. Instead, they tie it up at 1 here in the first. So trying to keep pace with this Orioles offense. Next up, Altuve, 2-2 to Altuve. He strikes out on a slider that was beautifully running away from Altuve. That now brings us to Alvarez, who's going to first pitch swing on a fastball. And it's going to get through the shift, so maybe a little bit of the bats warming up in this one, getting a little bit of luck here as they start to find the grass. Bell's up next, 1-2, pops up a high and inside fastball. Good jam pitch by Stewart. So it's 1 apiece after the first. Pat Valaika now in the top of the second. Very first pitch he sees is hit deep to center. Springer, though, has enough space to get underneath it, but that's a very loud out number 1. Now Zach Green's turn, 0-2 to him. He strikes out on the changeup. Nice pitch by Josh James to get the batter to miss. Now 2 outs for Adley Rutschman, who on an 0-1 gets jammed down and in on the slider, but pokes it into left field for a 2-out single. Chad De La Guerra is up next, 2-2 to him, and he's going to find the grass as well in the outfield as back-to-back singles for Baltimore. Gives them a little bit of a 2-out rally. We're back to the top of the order as well. Andrus walks on a full count. So just like that, we went from nobody on base to bases loaded. And the next batter is going to lace it down the left field line. It's going to catch the corner. And that's going to be 2 more runs for Baltimore. They're now up 3-1 as our starting pitching continues to struggle in this episode. Mookie Betts up next, and it's going to get from bad to worst. 0-1 count off of the train track wall. 3-run shot by Mookie Betts, his 18th of the season. And the Orioles lead has just exploded here. 6-1 Orioles. It's only the second inning. Josh James' struggles continue here in episode 67. How about Trey Mancini? Can we get Mancini out? Well, at least we can get Mancini out, but the damage has been done. How about top 3? Stay with Josh James. Nunez up next. He's going to lace it through into the outfield for the first hit of the third. As Josh James, what can we say? Valika up next. 1-0. Hangs a slider. That ball's gone as well into left center. A 2-run shot for Valika, his 5th of the season. And what can you say? Josh James absolutely sucks today. He sucked for most of the series, but I've tried to refrain from saying that. But it's now an 8-1 game for Baltimore. Zach Green up next. He's going to ground to Bell, so we finally get the first out of the third. And next up is Adley Rutschman, 3-0 to him. And he's going to walk on 4 straight pitches. Why not? Why not hit the strike zone at all? Come on, Josh James. Chad De La Guerra up next. He looks at a slider that I guess locked him up coming from outside in. So that was a good pitch by James. Next up, Andrews, 1-0 to him, though. He's going to line this one into left field. It's going to get all up against the wall for a 2-out double. So the Orioles threatening once more. It's Austin Hayes. First pitch to him. Hits it deep to left field. Just misses the stands as that one's off the top of the wall. But what do you know? It's now a 10-1 lead for the Orioles. They have 10 runs and 2 2/3 innings, and we've seen enough. Josh James, got to pull him, and what do you know? A familiar sight. Urania comes out early, having to deal with this damage, try to salvage anything we possibly can. Very next batter, Mookie Betts. He pops up on the first pitch, thankfully into the foul territory recorded for Stubbs. But it's 10-1 Orioles, and we're going to the bottom of the third. Bregman up first. Can we do anything here? Well, a walk's going to help as he takes first base. Altuve up next. High fastball. That's probably a good pitch for most, but a little high for Altuve. That's a pop-up for the first out. Alvarez up next. 2-0 to him. That's a grounder to the right side of the infield. They can't turn 2, but they do throw Alvarez out at first. And up next is Josh Bell. 1-2 to him. High fastball. Gets around on it, but it's popped up. And that's out number 3 in the bottom of the third. So it's now 10-1 Orioles after 3 innings. And I usually don't like to do this, but we're going to super send the rest of this one. Quick manage it, I guess, for MLB The Show standards. I didn't really feel like playing the rest of this one. We're down 10-1. It was so painful in this one to pitch. So I thought we'd super sim the rest. As you can see, finally some zeros across the board. But Josh Bell does hit a 3-run bomb, so he gets back 3 of those. This is 10-4. Cole Stewart is yanked out in the bottom of the 5th, so both starting pitchers not having a good day. Urania doesn't give anything up in the 6th as well, so he's done a good job in relief. Now top 7. Outs, 3 straight outs. So Urania doing good in relief, and Josh Bell hits another home run. This time a 2-run bomb, and they cut the lead to 4. It's now 10-6 Baltimore. Now top 8 error, so that's 2 outs and a walk. Bases loaded, and they get out. So 10-6 here. It doesn't seem like we could do anything in the bottom of the 8th. No, we get a run across. So we cut it to 3, and we're going to yank Urania. I don't want him to go the whole game, but it's only a 3-run ball game. We'll put Peacock in just like in the last game, and well, he doesn't have a lot of support, and there's a 3-run bomb to Andrews. So it's 13-7. We're going to pinch hit here for Stubbs with 1 away. We'll do Josh Reddick again. This is almost a repeat of the last ball game. And we lose 13-7, so another high-scoring ball game. But the Orioles, they do get the win here in Game 1 of this series. We'll have to take a look at the stats as the Astros, our manager looks very stressed out. Our starting pitching has just been awful. It's been bad this episode. I think it really came to light this episode. But if you've watched a couple of the past episodes, our starting pitching has not been very good. We've had to rely on our offense to get the job done a lot of the time. And that's not a recipe for success, because once the bats get cold, it's going to result in a lot of losses. We've seen a lot of missed pitches, a lot of missed targets, and stuff like that. We're not going to send the rest of the series because it is the AA All-Star game, so I thought we'd take a look at that one in the next up. But speaking of starting pitching, I thought I'd show you what is on the block. So if we did want to fix this problem, what could we do? Well, Shane Bieber is a dominant target, but he's going to cost an arm and a leg. Literally, he's going to cost Josh Bell, so we're probably not going to make a move for Shane Bieber. Sandy Alcantara is another man on the trade block from Miami. 25 years old, has a bright future, but he's another one of those just fast flamethrowers who doesn't really have much control at the moment. And he's not having a good year, so I don't really know if I want to go through that again. And then Trevor Williams is another target. He's from Pittsburgh, and he's got more of a well-rounded skill set at 28 years old, but Pittsburgh values him very highly, a lot higher than I do, and I'm not willing to give up Verlander, Barber, and Sierra just for Trevor Williams. So not much on the marquee here for starting pitchers. That's all really of the targets. So we're going to have to get very creative if we want to solve this issue, but we're not going to simulate the rest of the series. Like I said, it is the AA All-Star game, so we'll take a look at that next episode. But we got to solve this issue. This is a major problem. Our starting pitching is, I feel like, holding us back, which is very weird to say given our record, but just imagine where we'd be if our starting pitching started to pick it up. So we're going to have to get creative, find out some ways to improve this rotation. But that's going to do it for this one. Sorry that we got destroyed in both of the games watched, but it happens sometimes. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.